Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
The missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and advised that the mother has went through a wall, came home, now they can't find her.
Turn it over to another agency.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Once I told a lie, and I told my family, I had to keep lying.
But sure, I mean, is it deemed?
We haven't cleared anybody.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here for another ATS News live stream. This is a very laid back live stream tonight. We came back with a verdict today for Jennifer Crumbley, who was on trial for her son, who was the school shooter in that 4 deaths of 4 students, and there was 7 injured. This is breaking news because not only is this obviously a heinous crime, but this is the first time a parent has been held accountable and responsible for their child's actions in a school shooting like this. So Shay Benet coming in first thing. Thank you so much. Before I even do a sound check, how's my sound? And thank you, Shay Benet, for 20 gifted memberships. That's so generous of you, and I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you and my other moderators. I saw Johnny in here. How are you guys? Mel Max here. Shmita, good to see you. Pointer Lover, all my faves are showing up. Adrian's here. Thank you guys so much. Delana, I really appreciate you guys showing up. Hello. Yeah, let's unpack that. It's good to see you too. So guys, this is just a really, monumental day for true crime in a way. We've seen these school shootings all over the media for years now. I mean, let's face it, in 1999, the Columbine school shooting broke news all over the country, all over the world, and it is still a case that people study. And, it's horrendous. It's really scary. 1999, I was 11 years old. And even at that time, I knew that it was something that was just, you never think it would happen at your school, so you kind of block it out. But in the back of your head, it's always something that you kind of think about, even when you're a kid. So again, we're just going to get into some of the case details in this one. Now, Ethan pled guilty and is serving life behind bars without the chance of parole. Now, people were already posting in a true crime group that I'm in. Actually, this one is the Court TV group, and somebody wrote, "Wonder how Ethan is feeling tonight knowing his mom is in prison for his actions." Somebody wrote, "Mom is going to prison for her actions." Somebody else wrote, "Her lack of actions." And a lot of people agreeing with that. And somebody wrote, "She was not a mom to him." Now, on the other hand, there's been people who are very outraged by this verdict, who think that it's going to cause a dangerous, slippery slope for any parent in the future. And, people realize that this case they made the parents examples. And this is exactly what somebody wrote in that same group with a different opinion. "The state wants to make these parents an example to the world. If the parents are found not guilty, I hope they turn around and sue the state. They have been in jail for 1.5 years. They each had an excessive bond and an excessive wait for a trial. They did not commit the heinous crime. We have heard of bad parenting. However, this is not criminal. Raising a teen is hard. Raising a teen with mental issues is even harder. The state wants its cake and to eat it too. They want to charge parents for their minor son's actions. However, the son was in trial and charged as an adult. It just seems like the state is really reaching on this. I do not believe the parents should be held responsible for their son's actions." And somebody wrote, "I do. He pled for help. Their reply was to give him a gun. We know the rest. Negligence resulting in 4 deaths." So just two polar opposite opinions on the spectrum. I'm curious where you guys stand. Feel free to leave it down below for replay viewers, and for those who are in chat right now, let me know where you guys stand. Do you think that the jury got it right? Now, this is a text message that Ethan sent to his friend. It says, "I've been asking my parents to bring me to a doctor. I'm having really dark thoughts." Again, it seems like there were so many examples shown in court of him reaching out for help from friends, from his parents, even the drawings that the teacher stumbled on. I think that there is blame to go around even for the school. I'm pulling up something to read for you guys. I think the school is definitely responsible for some of this. However, I believe after going back and forth, and again, I really don't like to come up with a definite answer on where I stand for somebody's guilt or innocence until the trial is over, or at least, they're deliberating. But after everything was laid out, at first I was like, they're paying so much attention to, her extramarital affairs and, painting her to look like a bad person, which I get. Apparently she had a DUI charge in the past. She was wrote bad checks. So she had some other charge related to bad check writing. So they really did go in after her character, which is to be expected by the prosecution. There was a lot of people making comments like she spent too much time with her horses and not enough time for her son. And other people were saying, parents are allowed to have extracurricular activities outside of being involved with their children. So there was a lot of things that I was like, okay, yeah, I can see that. I could see that. But ultimately, I sat and I thought about it. And while they were deliberating, I was still going back and forth until really they broke the news that it was guilty. And I agreed with it. It was just, they laid it out and showed that there was neglect on the mother's part. James Crumbley, it's not looking good for him either. I'm sure his defense lawyer is going to be on the phone with the state tomorrow, begging and possibly hoping to strike a plea deal, because let's face it, he bought the gun. It was registered in his name. Even Jennifer's defense was sort of throwing him under the bus as like, she's not as responsible as him, look over here, which is to be expected. But ultimately, let me look at my notes, but they basically said in that school meeting, it seemed like she was very dismissive of their concerns. Let's see. Let me just turn my camera off while I go through some notes. But so yeah, there were images of the shooting that were shown in this trial. And apparently James' attorney has put in motions to exclude those images. So that is something that might be different in his trial that was put into her trial. And also, guys, if you could just hit that like button and subscribe while I'm just going through some notes, and I'm going to read this article too. I'd really appreciate it. So after the charges were given, another thing that probably didn't look good for the jury was it appeared she was trying to flee. James bought the gun, but Jennifer took Ethan to the shooting range and posted on Facebook that they had just gotten their son, who was only 15 at the time, this amazing Christmas gift. So that obviously didn't look good for the jury, for her. And let's see, the journal was a damning piece of evidence. It clearly showed that he was reaching out, begging for help, even in his own journal. Now, the defense claimed that she never knew anything about this journal. And it just comes down to, how involved should the parents have been? And in my opinion, there was a lot of things going on. His best friend had just moved away. His grandmother had just passed. Jennifer on the stand, which I think was a mistake to even put her on the stand. But on the stand, she admits that she had known he was sad. So it was just kind of like, okay, so you knew these types of things and you still were oblivious to this notebook, this journal that he had. She was also asked on the stand, do you regret anything? And she said no. They said, would you have done anything different? She said no. Then they asked her if she was a victim. And of course she was like, yes. That I don't think looked very favorable for her with the jury. So that she's facing 15 years for each count. I'm not sure what the sentencing will be, but I believe they said that that will be coming in a few weeks. So I don't know if she'll be getting 15 years for each murder, but she's facing a lot. So the gun was a 9mm. It was bought for him 4 days before the incident. The school told the parents at the meeting when they called them in after finding these like letters on, or this drawing on the test that showed, him with a gun and blood and students, very concerning drawing. They told the parents Ethan would have to receive mental health counseling in the next 48 hours, or they would contact social services. The school claimed Ethan's parents resisted the idea of Ethan leaving school at that moment, and he returned back to class. And as we all know, that's when the crime took place. So again, that's just not a good look for the parents, for Jennifer. And that's why she was held accountable for this. So she puts the blame a lot on the husband because he was supposed to secure the gun. Now, I've heard different things about the gun. I've heard that it was locked up, but the lock Ethan knew. I heard that the lock combo was even 000. I've also heard that it wasn't locked. So either way, it just comes down to the gun was not secured. And, if you're going to give your minor child the combination, or if he has access to the gun, you bought the gun, you registered it as the parent, you're responsible. It's sort of like when I was a teen and my parents, well, mostly my mom, was just all about, the car. And if you got in an accident and it was in her car on her insurance, she was very much like, make sure everyone wears a seatbelt, or I could get in trouble as a parent. And at the time, it goes over your head when you're a teen. Like, why would you be responsible, or you don't think anything bad's going to happen. But it's sort of the same, like with the car aspect with teens and some parents that are like very, iffy about letting their teen take off in the car because of liability reasons. Now, another thing I'm hearing about Michigan is they have something called, I forget what the term is, but on Wednesday during hunting season, they start school later in the day because they allow everybody to go hunting in the morning. This is something I've never heard of. Of course, I've grown up in New York my whole life, and it's very not gun friendly here. Not saying that I'm not gun friendly. I definitely believe in your constitutional right to bear arms. And I mean, the people in my family are definitely gun owners, but they practice responsible gun ownership. And it didn't appear like that was on their radar at all with these parents, the gun responsibility. So let me just read your guys' comments before I go through this. I wonder if James knew about the affair since it came out in court. If he didn't know, he does now, right? And I can remember one of their first hearings that they were on Zoom, and she like mouthed "I love you" to him. So again, I'm not saying that she didn't love him just because she was cheating on him, but it's just it's an interesting dynamic. Maybe somebody in chat knows if he knew about the affairs, but from what I heard, it seemed like he didn't know. One of the boyfriends actually took the stand. He was a firefighter. He stated that days before this incident took place, Jennifer had expressed to him that she was worried Ethan was going to do something stupid. And he asked her, where's the gun and stuff like that. And she told him it was in her car, which was a lie, apparently. Let's see what you guys are. She threw her husband under the bus, right? And it kind of is expected, for the defense to do, look over here. It's not my client, it's this person. But yeah, talk about like a stab to the heart. Jennifer had left it in her car as well. Yeah. So that's not secure either, Yeah, a little late for that 48 hours. Why, again, everyone is asking the same questions. Why didn't anybody check his backpack? I'm hearing also the principal or whoever walked him to the office where they had the meeting stated his bag was really heavy. That is such a huge misstep for the school as well. 4 lives lost as a society. I hope we can do better. If you see something, say something. I understand the jury, but in the end, he pulled the trigger and he knew it wasn't right. And that's a lot of people are saying, like, oh, especially people outside of the US are saying, I can read it if I can find the post, but people in that group were just like, America is screwed up. Why is this happening? It wasn't the parent who did this. Somebody else kind of compared it to Ted Bundy. Could you hold Ted Bundy's parents accountable for his actions? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, a lot of the examples were kind of reaching. But it's just ultimately anyone that thinks the staff at the school that failed to protect those kids should be charged. Yeah, there's blame to go around. Here's my opinion. As long as the school officials followed school protocol at the time, what more could they do? Hopefully the protocol was updated after the shooting. And no, I don't like that the school officials haven't been charged. Teachers, administrators, and schools have their hands tied as far as discipline. When we do discipline, parents attack us and sometimes sue. Schools aren't allowed to check backpacks without parents' consent. There is so much more to this than people know. If you don't work in a school, you have no idea what we are and aren't allowed to do. See, now, when I was going to school, again, I graduated in 2006, you could have your locker and your bag checked at any point. They did not need to call your parents and say, can we look in Amber's bag, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, like if you're on property, if they have reason to search it, then they will. But I don't know how much things have changed. Obviously, it's been a while since I've been in school. Why haven't charges been filed on the counselor? Wouldn't that kind of be like the officer that pulled the gun instead of the taser? He had a degree to be a counselor, right? He should go on leave and have more training. There are classes professionals can take, like recognizing troubled youth. I heard also, I don't know if it's true, that the school was given immunity. I don't know if that's true or if that's just what people are saying. Yeah, America is not screwed up. I think the right to bear arms is what makes the country the best in the world. Giving government ultimate power is so dangerous. It's not like people don't get shot in the UK. And I was also thinking, even if it wasn't a gun and say he created home bombs or whatever, or used a knife, ultimately, what do we all say when we hear about a school shooting? And in my mind, I'm always like, how did the parents not know? Where are the parents? And I don't know if that's just me who does that, but I definitely am like, raising my eyebrows, like, how did they just not know that their kid was on the verge of doing something like this? And it's hard because you could be the best parent and your kid could be troubled or mentally ill and do something, and it's like out of your hands. But from what I'm hearing also is he was telling his parents he was hearing voices and just so many things that he was being ignored on. Now let's get into this article and other things because we got a lot to go through. So, all right. James Crumbley's ex says he left them strapped for cash, calls Jennifer a monster. Michelle Cobb holds nothing back when describing James Crumbley, her ex-boyfriend and the father of her 18-year-old son. He's a piece of explicit... You guys know what it is. He really is, Cobb told 7 Action News Friday. Cobb said Crumbley left their son and a daughter he had with another woman in Florida when he moved out of state with Jennifer Crumbley. Cobb said the issues were not the relationship between the adults because she and the mother of Crumbley's now 24-year-old daughter chose to have a friendship for the sake of the children. But Cobb said James and Jennifer always looked for ways to criticize and complain about her because they hated that he had to pay child support for his son, Eli. I cried the moment he turned 18 because I thought all of this hell is over and far as dealing with my son's father, Cobb said. She said it was Jennifer Crumbley who was running the show and that she made it difficult for Eli to get close to his dad and half-brother Ethan. Jennifer was a monster, Cobb said. She could do no wrong and she was right about everything. I mean, this is exactly the kind of attitude she has. Like, she literally thought she was better than everyone. which kind of goes into her statements on the stand when she was asked, do you regret anything? Could you have done anything better? And she said no to those answers. Like, I think the jury was looking for some remorse, for her to kind of, hold some responsibility and maybe like shed a tear, like, yes, I should have been there more. And that didn't come out of her mouth. Hello, Roxanne. Good to see you. I was trained to shoot in my youth, but the weapons were always locked up in the safe and the code was never given to me. My dad is responsible in his approach, my opinion. I agree. I think that that's totally fair and okay to do with your kids. God forbid something happens and they need to grab the gun, to protect the family. Say there's a home invasion or something, but apparently that wasn't the mindset for the Crumbleys. She took zero accountability. Right. Now let's go to some clips I want to play. I'm just bouncing around, guys. Like, I didn't expect the verdict to kind of be read today, but it was. I think they deliberated for a total over 12, maybe around 11 hours or something.
So,
these are the texts.
Then from Facebook through a search warrant. It's printed out at these 77 pages, and we have a conversation participants between yourself and J.C. Crumbley. That's the defendant, Jennifer Crumbley. Is that right? You have to say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. The green, so we know that's Jennifer Crumbley, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then the blue would be you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to go through some of these with you. We'll start with page 16 here. And I guess first, these begin from what was recovered via search warrant from Facebook on December the 1st, 2021. And we have heard evidence already, so you're aware. See, it says UTC +0. Do you see that right there?
Yeah.
Okay. So that actually means it's 5 hours earlier than the time on that text message, so you know. So the first message here would actually be November the 30th in the late.
Adrian, he was 15 at the time of the crime. I believe it was in 2021. And from what I'm hearing, since he's been in custody, he has still not gotten evaluated for mental illness or anything. So that's what I'm hearing.
Evening hours. Thank you. Now, prior to this message here, did you have any other contact with Jennifer Crumbley from the time she expressed concern about her son to these messages coming to you?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that, please.
That was
louder,
I'm
please.
sorry. I apologize. It was after the shooting occurred. It was that gun was missing.
Which gun?
The 9mm.
Okay.
And I said to call 911.
You told her to call 911?
Yes.
Okay, you told her before that you're a firefighter?
Yes.
So why was it important to you to tell her to call 911?
Just to allow the first responders, the police, whatever, to identify that there's potential what's going on.
Okay.
We're missing it and something's going on.
All right. Now it's fair to say that the first message we have here that says 12/1/21 at 2:56 a.m. UTC 0. That's not the first message exchange between the two of you.
I agree,
Correct?
Justice Jane.
So just everything before that would have been deleted by both yourself and Jennifer.
Correct.
All right. So again, I'm going to refer to a handful of these pages. And just so you know, this is everything that was recovered from Facebook. Okay, so this is page 16, exhibit 426.
Your Honor, I apologize. Does the court have Wi-Fi? Because the file's so large, my hotspot's not going fast enough, and they just emailed it over to me, and I can't open it on my computer. Do you know if there's a password or if there's a...
There's still not my department.
Yeah, mine either. Mine either. Thanks. I appreciate it, though, that the court is helping. Do I go to ACS?
Yeah, Melissa, she said for Jennifer to talk more about her horses and about her son, that's messed up. I talk and text our son to my husband daily and throughout the day. I don't know how not to. Right. And she was, apparently meeting up with her boyfriend in the Costco parking lot and, all this stuff. And it's like, yes, you're allowed to have a life outside of your kids. I'm not saying outside of your marriage like that, but the state definitely showed her true colors, I think. Now, there was a lot of debate whether or not, the horse thing was fair. Like, people are allowed to have hobbies, blah, blah, blah. But like you said, there was more focus on certain elements of her life that wasn't her motherhood. And I thought about it too. And it's not like they had multiple children, like parents and families that have multiple kids. Now, James had older kids in that marriage previously, but they weren't in the household. It wasn't their children that they were mothering and parenting at the time. So I still am like, they had one child to look after. And this is what happens. It's just inexcusable on a level of like, what else could you have been doing? Even his haircut, the time of the mugshot, I kind of looked at it and was like, okay, I know that kids like to have that like shaggy hair and that mullet style was in style, but this was, it almost looked like you could argue that he was neglected, even in the sense of like, go get this kid a haircut. Like, what are you guys doing?
Ms. Nella sent it again with a reduced file size.
Oh, okay. I'll try that. Thank you. I'm sorry, I just can't get it open.
Go ahead.
Okay, in the blue here, this is 12/1/21. So this is shortly before midnight on November the 30th, 2021. And what did you write to her?
I can't even keep up. None are threatening. Facebook pulls those down instantly.
Okay, and that was in response to what?
Sending screenshots showing what was going on and everybody that was commenting through their stuff or regarding them.
Okay. That's page 16. I'm going to go to page 33. Jennifer Crumbley wrote what at just after midnight on December 1st, 2021.
I failed as a parent. I failed miserably.
And your response was?
You didn't do this.
Okay. Now, is it fair to say at that point in time, your information was received regarding the shooting from Jennifer Crumbley?
At that point.
Did you know all the facts? Did you know all the facts?
No.
Okay. So throughout this text message or Facebook message conversation, there's messages from you expressing concern over Jennifer Crumbley, frustration by the fact that she's going to be charged, disbelief that she's going to be charged. Were those your opinions at that time?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm not asking you to agree or disagree. We just want the truth from you. So is that what you feel now?
No, not. I've received more info.
Okay. I'm going to move on now to page 38.
Your Honor, I am so sorry, but I cannot get the file they sent me to open, and I really need a minute to get this file open.
Okay, I personally can't talk to that, but maybe.
Are you connected? No, it's not letting me connect. That's the problem I'm having right now. Okay, the joint OC guest came on. I just need to be able to have this open. It says I'm connected now. Let me try this again. The first file was too big. Okay, they sent a second file. Oh, I got it. Thank you.
All right. Moving on.
All right, ready?
Sure.
Okay. This is page 38 of Exhibit 426. In the green, there's some screenshots sent, and then Jennifer wrote, seriously, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, can't see my horses, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark. And your response was what?
No one knows how to handle any of this.
Okay, and that was in regards to screenshots sent from Kara Penn, is that right? You have to say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. Now moving on to page 42.
Your Honor, I guess the prosecution said leading witness. I haven't objected, but we've been doing a lot of leading.
Okay, so I'll make sure don't ask anything that suggests anything. Okay, this is page 42. The top text bubble here in green. What did the defendant write?
Social media. We heard we may get charged too.
Okay, and your response?
I did hear that. That was mentioned on one of the news stations. I don't know how both of you could be charged. I can only assume they'll charge James with the handgun not being secure.
Okay, and she wrote this December 1st, 2021, 11:10 p.m. UTC +0. So that is actually 5 hours sooner than that. So that would be in the evening hours of Wednesday, December the 1st, 2021. Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Also on page 42, there's a deleted message here. This is green. Tell us what this one says.
You unsent the message. Okay.
And you obviously weren't here when Mr. Wachowski testified to tell us what that means and what that red X means. But what is the message that was actually deleted here?
Is that the green I'm looking at?
Right here. Yes,
it was. We had the string lock on it. It came within the case.
Okay. Now, you had talked to her via message on the morning of November the 30th, 2021, when she told you about having to go to the school, right?
Yes.
Okay. Prior to this message coming to you on Wednesday, December the 1st, 2021, in the evening hours, did she mention anything about a locking mechanism for the gun?
No.
Moving on to page 43. Okay. She wrote this December the 1st, 2021, 11:47 UTC 0. So roughly the same time as the deleted message we just referenced. What did she write?
The news articles are saying charging both parents.
Okay. In your response?
I heard that, but I can't imagine what they could possibly charge you. It's just remember the news is not accurate. They notoriously fill in gaps where they have no info or report as fact. Report as fact info they get third hand.
Okay. And again, those are your feelings at the time?
Yes.
Okay. On page, what is the, finish this page here for us. So after they get info third hand, what were the responses in green?
It's coming from the prosecuting attorney. I need to retain a lawyer's status.
Okay. And now we're in page 44. Again, this was Wednesday, December the 1st, 2021, evening hours. That's the day after the shooting, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now we have already admitted this portion of your Facebook message thread. Again, a deleted message. Can you read it for us?
The unsent message, the one below that.
Both. Well, both. You just give us the.
You unsent a message.
Okay. And then what did she write that was actually deleted?
Everything was secured, not loaded. Bullets stored away separately. OMG, OMG, OMG.
Okay. And again, this is the conversation, the first time I ever heard Jennifer Crumbley tell you anything about the firearm being secured.
Yes.
Okay, good night, Dustin. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Let me just switch up. Okay, that was some of her text messages. I'm bouncing around.
Video in the trial of the mother of school shooter Ethan Crumbley, jurors were shown the moment the parents were arrested. There'd been a manhunt for the couple until they were found in the middle of the night hiding out in an artist studio.
It's dramatic body cam video of a SWAT team arresting the parents of school shooter Ethan Crumbley. The video was played to the jury at the trial of Ethan Crumbley's mother. It's intended to show how the Crumbleys went on the run following the school shooting, hiding from cops in an artist studio owned by a friend. Jennifer Crumbley is lying on a mattress, apparently pretending to be asleep despite the chaos around her. Cops lift up the mattress they were using to search for weapons. The jury was also shown desperate text messages Mom Jennifer sent her son the day of the massacre. Ethan, don't do it, she texted. Moments later, his father texted, Ethan, call me now. But their pleas came minutes too late to prevent the murders of 4 students. And there was bombshell testimony today when a firefighter claimed he had had an extramarital affair with Jennifer Crumbley.
You told police that you and Mrs. Crumbley had had an extramarital affair, correct?
Correct.
You told police from the very beginning your relationship with Mrs. Crumbley involved a sexual relationship, correct?
Correct.
Jennifer Crumbley's appearance has changed dramatically since her arrest in 2021. This is how she looked when she met with school officials the day of the shooting. 2 years behind bars awaiting trial have taken a visible toll.
Yeah, that whole aspect of it too. So she was born in 1978. She looks way older than her age, in my opinion. People have stated that it was also some prescription drugs that she's on, maybe antidepressants or something. But the fact how she aged so much is just a testament to what stress does, what jail time does to a body. And I think it would have served her better to go up on the stand and kind of maybe even her lawyer, like, point some of that out. Like, this has really torn you up and you have a lot of regret or stuff like that. But yet she said the opposite. So the jury, I just think, were kind of disappointed that she showed very little remorse. Actually, none.
Both Jennifer Crumbley and her husband James have pleaded not guilty to 4 charges of involuntary manslaughter.
It also was not a good look to the jury and, in general, that her and her husband were fleeing once the charges were read to them.
Now, when we started, we confirmed that you understood the oath that you just took.
Correct.
And the same oath you took yesterday.
Correct.
Okay. And you don't deny that you had $6,000 in cash in your purse the night you were arrested?
No.
You don't deny that your purse with the cash and 4 cell phones were in a plastic tote?
Correct.
You don't deny that that plastic tote was contained in a different plastic tote?
Correct.
You don't deny that your backpack with clothing items was found in a different plastic tote in a different area of the studio?
Correct.
Okay. And you don't deny that you knew you had been charged with involuntary manslaughter?
Correct.
In fact, as early as December the 1st, 2021 at 6:10 p.m., you were talking about how you're being charged with involuntary manslaughter.
That was what I was being told by family that was texting me. That's what the charges might be announced as, correct?
Okay, and one is to Mr. Malash. There's a text to your cousin about you are being charged with involuntary manslaughter. You don't deny receiving that.
No.
That's Wednesday, December the 1st.
Correct.
Right? And you sent your neighbor a message on Wednesday the 1st of 2021, 6:55 p.m. that you were reading, they may charge us.
Correct.
Okay. And December the 2nd, 2021, you wrote, they're saying involuntary manslaughter.
Correct.
You don't deny that?
No.
And of course, you looked at different news articles about that the next day.
Yeah.
And later on that day. And then you texted, after all of these messages and news articles, on December the 2nd, 2021 at 2 p.m., we're fucked. You wrote that to Mr. Malash.
Correct.
Okay. And then you wrote announcing charges at noon on December the 3rd, 2021 at 8:17 a.m.
Correct.
And you wrote that to Mr. Malash, you wrote that to Kira, you wrote that to your dad, right?
Correct.
Okay. So you don't deny any of that?
No.
Okay. Now you told us yesterday that you popped 4 Xanax?
I did.
Okay. And your husband popped 4 Xanax?
Correct.
You said you went to bed about 11 o'clock.
It was around that time.
Okay. And the evidence that we have admitted show that you set your alarm for 6:30 a.m. and 6:45 a.m.
I don't know if it was me who said it, but it was set for that time.
Okay. And from the evidence, it shows when it was set too.
Correct.
Okay. And it was set a little after 11 p.m.
Okay, correct.
Yes. Okay. So yesterday you said, I want to say it was after 11 about going to bed. I want to say it was after 11, maybe around 11 o'clock when we finally went to bed. I prescribed Xanax for anxiety, and we each took 4 because we knew we were going to turn ourselves in the next day, and we hadn't slept in 4 days, and we just wanted to sleep. The question was, okay, so you took 4? Your answer, we did. And the next question was, okay, so the next thing, the next piece of evidence we saw that was coming in that art studio, do you recall that? Your answer? I recall my husband screaming, there's people with guns against interface officers. Question, what were you doing prior to hearing your husband screaming? Answer, we were sleeping. Question, okay, were you aware that there was anything going on? Answer, I was not.
Correct.
That's your testimony?
Correct.
Okay. And you know when you say something that isn't true, it's called a lie?
Correct.
Okay. It's going to be exhibit 430. Council does have a copy.
Is it
The entire thread.
perfect? No
Here
objection. Oh, thank you.
Judges of the court have a copy?
Is this today's?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Any objection?
No,
Okay.
Mrs. Crumbley, you knew the police were there.
430 is admitted.
Thank you, Judge.
not until I woke up. No.
Not until you woke up.
Correct.
Okay. Now, we heard testimony yesterday, or throughout the trial, that 911 was called at 10:43 p.m. You recall that?
Yeah, I saw in the video. Correct.
Okay, and on the video, the first officers arrived before 11 p.m.
Correct.
Okay. And either you or your husband, we couldn't tell from the video, but you tell me, was it you or your husband out there smoking?
That was my husband.
Okay. So your husband walks in shortly after the 911 caller walks in the building to call 911.
Correct.
That was on the video.
Correct.
Okay. And officers arrived. And then we've heard testimony from Mr. Kirtley, who had a studio there. We heard testimony from Sergeant Henrik, who was in the fugitive apprehension team, as well as Corporal Shaw with the Detroit Police SWAT team, about the amount of officers there.
Correct.
You recall that?
I do.
And you recall hearing the testimony that Corporal Shaw's team, their SWAT team, they actually used a 35-pound steel ram to bash in a door studio next to where you were at. You recall that testimony?
I do.
Okay. And your testimony was that you were asleep when the officers arrived.
Yes, I was.
Okay. But you had an alarm set for 6:30 in the morning on your phone, and that phone was found powered off, hidden in a tote, contained in a different tote, in a place away from the bed.
Correct.
You don't deny that?
No.
All right. And there are certain messages in 430. I'm gonna go through them with you. This is actually to your attorneys. At the time, you had 2 attorneys. Marielle, this is Jennifer's phone. James and Jennifer are using Jennifer's phone now. That's it. December the 3rd, 2021, 6:04 p.m. Do you recall that?
I don't, but I don't deny.
Okay, you don't deny.
No.
Okay. Your next message, the other phone broke. That's December the 3rd, 2021 at 6:04 p.m. The response was, when you can, we would like for you to call us. That was from either Ms. Smith or at the time co-counsel Marielle Lane.
Correct.
Your response, I'm sorry, this is from Marielle. Thank you. Shannon is calling you both shortly. Okay. At the top it says,
Thank you, Johnny, for the tea.
Identify for the record. From Shannon, Marielle and I are going to come get you guys in the morning. We do not think it will help to make a statement that you're coming back now or that it will be tomorrow a.m. We can say that we told everyone you were coming back, and as of tomorrow a.m., you were back. That's Friday, December 3rd, 2021, 7:02 p.m. Right? Okay. So that's after James had already moved the car around and backed into the parking spot.
I believe so.
Yeah, I agree, Nina. She said, the bond between a mother and son is a sacred bond. Jennifer did not care. He was crying out for her and his dad, anyone to listen. That boy needed his mama. Yeah, and she was too busy. She just, I don't know, she's a cold woman. More focused on herself, totally neglected him. And hello, Sleuth Mom. It's good to see you.
From Shannon, we can show them that everything we said was going to happen did happen. That's Friday, December 3rd, 2021 at 7:02 p.m. Right?
Right.
Your response, okay, that's at 7:03 p.m. From Shannon, I'm going to drive home from my office right now and call you guys in about 40 to 45 minutes so I can get all the bond factor information written down for Marielle and me. That's Friday, December 3rd at 7:36 p.m.
Correct.
Okay. Your response, okay, we'll be waiting, 7:37 p.m. Shannon, I'm going to call in 1 minute. That's at 8:54 p.m. that Friday night. Your response was okay. Do you recall?
I don't, but I don't deny it.
But you don't dispute the records.
Correct.
The next message you sent was, think we might have found, don't know, just heads up, please check. December the 3rd, 2021, 11:14 p.m.
That was written, but I do not believe it was written by me.
Okay, you don't remember. Well, you told us you don't remember any of these text messages. You just
Right.
specifically
I
remember this one?
read through it, but
You don't deny that this was on your phone, what we refer to as the burner or track phone.
correct. We
You don't deny
were both using that phone at the time because my husband's broke.
it. Okay. And then
I totally agree, Sleuth Mom. She said this case is going to set a huge precedence. And that reminds me of another post somebody wrote in that court TV group, said something about like, I hope everyone's prepared for if your child does something wrong, that you could be held responsible for it. And other people were just saying back like, well, that's why, you're involved and you don't let, okay, this is what it is. Y'all, this will set a precedent for all parenting. Make sure you know where your child is at all times. If not, it can cost you your life. And, people were agreeing. And then, of course, there's those that are just saying like, as far as Jennifer was concerned, it had no bearing on her case whether Ethan was tried as an adult or tried as a juvenile. The Crumbleys were still his parents before the shooting, and he was still a child in their custody before. He was their responsibility then. Jennifer Crumbley was being tried for what happened before the shooting. Jennifer Crumbley was not being tried for anything that happened after Ethan Crumbley was arrested. How the court handled the case was completely separate from how her case was handled. But people see that as a technicality to try to get Jennifer off. Thank God it didn't work in her trial. Now, that was in reference to the fact that he was tried as an adult. They're basically saying, like, how can you hold her responsible for this child when you tried him as an adult? But it's like, before he committed this crime, he was her child. He was her responsibility. And the whole involuntary manslaughter, they had to basically show that there was gross negligence on Jennifer Crumbley's part. And I believe that it was kind of questionable if the state ironed it out, but it seems as though the jury thought so. And when we look at the whole situation as a whole, like we've stated so many times, Ethan was reaching out for help in so many different ways. at school, at home, to friends, in text messages, in that journal. There were a lot of opportunities for them, the parents, to kind of intervene and take control of where they could, and they failed to. They neglected to. And hello, Cray Cray 420. Good to see you.
You wrote in quick succession, don't know, 11:16 p.m. He might have been found, 11:16 p.m. Laying low, 11:16 p.m. You don't deny that these are the records?
No, I don't.
Okay. Response from Shannon, oh shit. Friday, December 3rd, 2021, 11:16 p.m. Now, we know from all of the objective evidence, the testimony, the video, everything that the officers testified to, they were on scene before 11 p.m. You don't deny that?
No, I don't.
You don't deny that there were hundreds of officers on scene?
I don't know how many were on scene.
Okay. How many did you see when you got pulled out of the art studio?
Honestly, I don't know. It all happened so fast. I knew there was more. There was a few. There was more than a few, but not.
You saw the body camera footage.
Right.
All right. So again, here's another comment. I think it's worthy enough to read. And hello, Kathy. Oh, we're doing a Jade raid. Oh, Melissa Jade's chat is coming here. Hello, Carol freaking Claus and everyone joining us. Yeah, his parents ignored his cries for help. All these should play out in a case-by-case basis. In this case, they were negligent. I totally agree with you, Jen. It is going to depend on every single situation, every single case. You know, there's a lot of people who are saying, so now we're going to hold parents accountable for children who are in gangs who do this same act on a gang level. And it's like, well, I mean, if there was a way to kind of show that that kid was reaching out for help and not wanting to go down that road, and the parents, you know, encouraged it or neglected to help that child, then it would go case by case, and that could be brought up. I'm also hearing that, so now parents who were in previous shootings, now they could be brought to court and held liable. And I'm hearing that that is a possibility if it falls within the statute of limitations, which I think it would, that, yeah, there is a situation where, like, nowadays, yeah, there could be late charges on other parents in similar situations. So it has set a precedent. And yes, I agree, Jen, it should depend on situations, case by case. And in that sense, you know, when something like this happens, they're going to pull records of text messages from parents. They're going to do everything that they did to Jennifer, character witnesses, you know, people who she worked with, stuff like that. All that will come into play. So it might not happen in other situations because it might not have been so blatant as it was here. I believe it was very blatant here. As a parent, you should know, you should be present and paying attention. If they ask for help, you help them. You don't hand them a weapon and go about your affairs. Be that helicopter and hover. Being a parent is a full-time job, not just when it's convenient. Not one parent on this earth would ever think their kid would do something like he did. Why didn't the school suspend him immediately that morning? What could they have suspended him for? Well, they suspend kids in our schools for lesser things. And then there's, you know, people going on in debate. Other people are saying you should be involved and it shouldn't be a worry if you're involved as a parent. So, you know, it's a debated topic. That's why I wanted to kind of come with you guys today and talk about it, because there are a lot of debate. Willfully neglected, in my opinion. He was. Jade Raid, cool guys. Yeah, thank you all for being here. Hello, Zoe. Shouldn't have been tried as an adult. He was a neglected child. Yeah, and he has no chance of parole. So there's nothing that he can do to come back from this. Let me just show the video of them approaching him in the area that he was arrested or in custody. Again, I just am stunned still by the change in appearance for Jennifer.
Continues for the mother of school shooter Ethan Crumbley, with the jury seeing video of the moment his parents arrived at the police station and came face to face with their son. The boy's mother was asking a simple question. Why?
It's the shocking moment the parents of school shooter Ethan Crumbley confront him for the first time after he murdered 4 students.
Why? Why?
But the only thing he cared about was his cat, Dexter, apparently named after the fictional serial killer in the Showtime TV series Dexter. James and Jennifer Crumbley had just been told by cops that their son gunned down the students at his high school outside Detroit. They're taken to see their son, and there he was, handcuffed to the wall. He avoids making eye contact with them.
I don't think he needs to have so many questions right now.
As the brief encounter ends, Ethan is only concerned about his cat, Dexter.
That's why. That's why. I love you. I love you. I love you.
His father is distraught and sobbing. His mother is truly upset by his lack of emotion. Video of the bizarre confrontation was played for the jury at the trial of Ethan Crumbley's mother, who's charged with manslaughter, the first time a parent has been tried for killings committed by their child. Her boss, Andrew Smith, told the jury about the moment she learned there was an active shooter at the school.
I heard some loud commotion outside my office, like yelling, and I saw her racing down the hall.
Later, she texted him, "OMG, Andy, he's going to kill himself. He must be the shooter. Ethan did it."
Ethan Crumbley was sentenced to life in prison without parole. His parents have been in jail for more than 2 years.
So yeah, lock up your guns. Pointer Lover said, my 12-year-old neighbor took his mom's gun out of her backpack and accidentally shot his 9-year-old brother 3 years ago. They were playing with the gun when she went to the store. Holy moly. Yeah. No gun should be outside of its safe at any point. I don't understand that. That's interesting, Kelly. I didn't hear that. Yeah, I think it could have been different here if they had even tried, right? I think so too. It could have been different had they just opened the dang backpack right then and there. You know, the school didn't know that they had just purchased that gun 4 days prior, but the parents knew. Why wasn't this going through their head when they were shown that drawing where it literally has a 9mm like gun drawn on that drawing? It's unbelievable. And yeah, I saw Pointer Lover's comment earlier saying that they paid for their own lawyers and they didn't pay for him to get one. Well, now he's got no chance of parole and he has not been evaluated. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, I know, Nana. It's like, how do you look at the situation and you're like, oh my gosh, like, you know, the parents, how did they not know this was going to happen? And it never gives any of the victims' families any peace, I don't think. In fact, I have one of the victims' families' statements here. It's just, you know, you could tell he was like satisfied with the verdict, but what more can they do? You know, you never get your child back. So what happened with that that neighbor? Did that kid die? Pointer Lover?
Throughout every household in the country, and I feel it's necessary, and I'm happy with the verdict, even though it's still a sad situation to be in. It's got to stop. Everything that's going on, we have to address everything, and you know, the root cause. You know, everybody involved. It's accountability, and you know, this is what we've been asking for a long time now, and this is still just one step in the process. There's more to do, and we all have more to do. We all have work now. We all know that we are to be held responsible for anything that we do. So, that being said, it's important to sit down and do some deep thinking and reflect on everything that we do every day. You know, it's a milestone, and it feels like it.
Obviously, it's an unprecedented situation for a parent of a school shooter to be convicted. Why did you think that was an important thing to do in this case?
Because the bleeding has to stop. There has to be a level of accountability that hasn't been there before. We can't just continue living life with the uncertainty of whether or not our kids are going to come home from school, or are we going to have fun at the game, or anything. It doesn't matter what circumstances, and it's necessary to address it. And,
if you guys can hear me,
long overdue. Accountability on this level years ago could have stopped it. It could have stopped what happened in Oxford, that's for sure.
Mr. Schilling, it took the jurors a day and a half to reach a verdict. What was going through your mind during this time?
It's hard to, I don't know if we have enough time to describe what's going through my mind, because it's tough to sit and wait it out and try and understand. You wrap your head around it, and you try and grasp the gravity of the situation. You understand that it's not about my opinions or anybody else's opinions. It's about the facts, the evidence, and it's about the diligence of the jury. And this is what they did. They were diligent with their decision. They know and they understand the gravity of the situation, and they know the importance of this case. And the fact that they came out with the verdict that they did, it shows that the people have spoken, and the people are tired of the uncertainty of every day.
Can you talk a little bit about what this has done to your family and how you're holding up at this juncture now with this verdict?
That's a topic I don't really care to get into very much. The whole event has obviously had a lasting effect on my family, and the day-to-day, dealing with the day-to-day situations and trials and interviews and press, and it's a chore, and it wears on you on every level, and the family feels it on every level.
Does this help you at all move forward?
Well, we have been asking for accountability across the board, and this is, as I said, one step towards that.
Next, I would be going after the school or the counselor personally. As a parent, I don't know what their plan is, but this, like he said, is one step kind of further in accountability, asking for accountability. But I just really think that there is some accountability or something to be said with the school. I don't know if there can be a civil case against the counselor or the school itself, but I would not be stopping here if I was one of these parents. And even if James strikes a plea deal and is found guilty, goes to prison too, I just can't imagine I would be satisfied with just the parents held responsible. I know that the school is only a small part of your child's day and influence, but they had a direct involvement in this situation. They saw it themselves. They brought it to the office. The counselors seen it. They called the parents in. It was something that they still, I think, have some accountability for. If I'm wrong, you guys let me know your opinion. But I don't think if I was one of these parents, I'd be stopping with just Ethan's parents. That would obviously help a little bit, but it never brings back your loved one, and grief just never goes away. And I agree, Jen, her behavior seeing him was weird to me too. I would have been a mess, right? She was in that video where it shows her confronting him, and he says, "Can you take care of my cat Dexter?" And she's like, "Why? It just, she's not even hugging her husband who's fallen apart too. There was nothing like they were together in a unified, rubbing his back or holding him, or it was her behavior. I think Ethan gets it from the mother.
And I feel that it's moving forward. It's going to not necessarily be any easier because of what we left behind, but it gives us hope for a brighter future, and it gives us hope for just some kind of I don't know. I've kind of lost my train of thought, but
well, you were very emotional at the sentencing. Have your emotions changed in any way after this?
No. The emotions are always going to be there. in the back of my mind, in the front of my mind, all around. There's really no level of the amount of emotion that you can have in this situation, and the fact that it's been years and it's still residual effects coming out, and it just happens when it happens, and it's always going to be like that. Something like this is it's a life-changing event, and it's really sucks to be in the middle of it.
I believe I read that you said something, if you tried not to think about it, sometimes it would get worse, and so it's better to maybe think about it.
Sure. I mean, it's pressure builds up and you have to release, and you can't just let that stuff just linger. You have to let it ooze out however it comes, and the emotions come out in many different ways. Anger, sadness, and it's all there. I mean, the whole spectrum is there, and you have to let it out. You have to do it in a controlled manner. I feel like I have to do it in a controlled manner, and it's just the way it is. It's the way it's going to be for a long time, I'm sure.
You mentioned that
I don't know if you guys have ever heard the phrase, you have to shoulder roll into your grief. I don't know. To me, that has always stuck out, like when discussing grief, like it never goes away. There's nothing, I don't think, a civil case, a criminal case, nothing will bring back the children that were lost here. And then the 7 that were wounded, the PTSD that they will have the rest of their life too. I mean, it's just got such a horrible ripple effect when stuff like this happens. And that father, just seeing him so broken and knowing that like his child's situation is going to set this new precedent, it's kind of probably bittersweet. It's like, good, now maybe parents will be more involved, or now maybe they'll lock up their guns, or now they'll listen better. But at the same time, it's like, but why did it have to be because of my kid's death? You know what I mean? So it's so hard. Grief never goes away. It just changes with flows of life. Exactly. Our kids were little when Columbine happened. Yep, 1999, April 20th. Sadly, it takes tragedies to change things. Shouldn't be that way, right? But all right, guys, I really appreciate you guys discussing this with me. It was a heated debate on all platforms today. I've seen it even on Twitter. A lot of people very much are very stuck in their feelings towards this of like, no, they didn't make the right choice. And how could a parent have prevented this? And, then there's that alternative opinion of like, yes, like where were the parents? And what do you know? He asked for help from them and they didn't help him. So I just think ultimately, yes, they made a right decision in this case. I'm not saying that every case in the future that involves a shooting in school with a minor would fall under the same category of like, yes, get the parents, go after the parents. But, if there was proof that the kid asked for help, didn't receive it, there's proof that the parents provided the weapon used, there's proof that this weapon wasn't even locked up appropriately, I think then yes, this is going to continue, and it should continue, and somebody needs to be held accountable. And again, I do think that the school has some blame in this. Not entirely, but I think that there is, I don't know. I think like you guys were saying in chat, there could be some civil suits. And if that would help the families move forward, then I support them. But we're going to talk later this week. I think I'm going to do my Watts live stream on Thursday night. And then another case, maybe Delphi on Friday. I might up my live streams during the week. Instead of 2 during the week, I might up it to 3. I'm going to try. My little one is very clingy. So that's why I wait until the evening to go live. I can't go during the day right now. She's like a Velcro baby. Velcro babies, the ones that like won't let you put them down. She's 3 years old and she's still Velcro to me. So I'll try to get on here as much as I can with you guys. I love discussing these topics with you guys. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you to my moderators. You guys are awesome. all I ask is for you guys to hit that like button and subscribe. And thank you, Shay Benet, for donating, and anyone else that sent Cash App. Thank you so much. And yeah, welcome to the members that she donated 20 memberships to. Thank you. And we'll be talking very soon. Yeah, the parents should have checked his backpack. Parents, teachers, school officer. I don't know if there was one here, but call them, you know. Okay, so you can relate to Velcro babies. Yeah, she wouldn't even nap during the day without me holding her. So I'd be stuck to a chair for like 2 to 3 hours the first year of her life. So yeah, we will talk very soon, guys. And yeah, all I can do is pray for these victims' families and hope that this does set a tone. Maybe it'll wake people up of, maybe I should check on what my teen is doing. They seem very withdrawn. They seem depressed. And, who knows? There could be positives that come out of this tragedy. So hopefully that's the case. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.